There is a power within you, a force so absolute that in just 1 minute it can reshape your reality. You are not bound by the circumstances you see, nor are you limited by the conditions the world tells you are permanent. The unseen, the formless, the invisible realm of imagination, this is where all things take shape, before they manifest in your world. Close your eyes for a moment and step beyond what you believe to be true. Feel not as one who wishes, but as one who already has. Let go of logic, let go of time. In just 1 minute, you can claim the impossible. You are not asking, you are not waiting, you are being. Right now, in this very moment, you have stepped into the version of yourself that already possesses everything you desire. Every second of doubt is a second wasted. The mind argues, the senses deceive, but the spirit knows. The law is simple. Assume the feeling and reality conforms. It does not matter how distant the dream appears. 1 minute of absolute conviction is more powerful than years of effort. The world responds to your inner state. For what you occupy within, you will occupy without. Do not look for proof. Do not seek signs. The moment you enter the state of fulfillment, creation is finished. Reality only needs time to catch up to the certainty you have already claimed. Be still and know it is done. Everything that exists in your world was once an idea, a thought, an unseen vision held in someone's mind. The chair you sit on, the home you live in, the clothes you wear, each one was first conceived in the imagination before it took form in reality. This is the law of creation, the foundation of all manifestation. Nothing appears out of nowhere. Everything is born from the unseen into the seen. And the most powerful truth is that your imagination is the source of your own reality. You are constantly shaping your life through the thoughts you hold and the feelings you entertain. Whether you are aware of it or not, your imagination is the force that molds your experiences. When you dwell in lack, fear, or limitation, you bring those experiences into being. When you persist in abundance, love, and fulfillment, your world shifts to reflect that state. The outer world is nothing more than a shadow cast by the inner world. To change the shadow, you must change the light that casts it. Imagination is not fantasy or daydreaming. It is the blueprint of reality. Consider the way an architect envisions a building before a single brick is laid. The structure exists in his mind long before it stands in the physical world. He knows that the blueprint is not separate from the finished building. It is the very thing that calls it into existence. In the same way, your inner world of imagination is not separate from your outer experience. What you claim inwardly, you will inevitably experience outwardly. The key is not merely to imagine passively, but to embody the state of already having what you desire. This means you do not just think about your dream, you feel it, you live in it, you make it real in your consciousness. You step into the scene in your mind, not as an observer, but as the main character. If you seek love, you do not long for it, you feel love now. If you desire success, you do not hope for it, you walk as one who is already successful. If the mind does not know the difference between imagination and reality, it only responds to the state you occupy. You have been given this creative power from birth, and you have used it all your life. Every experience you have ever had was first shaped in your inner world, whether consciously or unconsciously. If you look back at moments of struggle, you may realize that before the external difficulty appeared, there was already an internal fear, doubt, or worry that created it. Likewise, moments of great joy and success were preceded by a feeling of confidence, expectation, and knowing. The world is not happening to you, it is happening through you. Many people spend their lives reacting to circumstances, believing they are powerless against what life presents. But the truth is, life is reacting to you. The world you see is a reflection of your inner assumptions. The person who believes they are always unlucky will continue to experience misfortune. The person who believes they are destined for greatness will find opportunities unfolding before them. The law is impartial. It does not decide what is good or bad for you. It simply brings forth whatever you impress upon it. This is why guarding your imagination is so crucial. What you consistently hold in mind, you will experience. You cannot afford to dwell on fear, lack, or limitation, for those seeds will grow into your reality. Instead, you must deliberately plant the seeds of the life you desire. You must see yourself as the person you wish to be and feel the reality of it now. Some may ask, but what if my current circumstances contradict my imagination? The answer is simple. Circumstances do not matter. They are only a reflection of past thoughts and beliefs. If you persist in a new state, the outer world must shift to match it. The mistake most people make is looking at their current reality and believing it is fixed. But reality is fluid, always changing to mirror the state of consciousness you maintain. To truly grasp the power of imagination, you must stop thinking of it as something separate from reality. It is not just a tool for visualization. It is the very fabric of creation. The moment you assume something to be true in imagination, it begins to take form. It may not be visible immediately, but just as a seed planted in the soil does not sprout overnight, your assumptions take time to unfold in the physical world. The delay is not a denial. It is simply the natural process of manifestation. The question is not whether you are creating through imagination. You are doing so every moment of your life. The real question is whether you are creating deliberately or unconsciously. Most people allow their minds to be filled with fear, worry, and doubt, and then they wonder why their lives reflect those states. But the awakened individual understands that they must take control of their inner world. They must discipline their imagination, feeding it only with what they truly wish to experience. Think of it this way. If you were a gardener, would you allow weeds to overrun your soil, or would you carefully plant only the seeds that produce the harvest you desire? Your mind is no different. You must pull out the weeds of fear, self-doubt, and limitation, and replace them with the seeds of confidence, abundance, and joy. The moment you do, your reality will begin to shift. Some may say, this sounds too simple, but the truth is always simple. It is only the conditioned mind that complicates things. From childhood, we have been taught to believe only in what we can see and touch. We have been trained to place more faith in the physical world than in our own creative power. But the reality is that the physical world is merely an echo of the inner world. When you learn to trust your imagination more than your senses, you unlock the ability to shape your reality at will. This is not about wishful thinking or blind optimism. It is about knowing beyond doubt that what you hold in your mind will materialize. It is about stepping into the feeling of already having what you desire and living from that state until the world catches up. It does not matter how big the dream or how impossible it seems. The law does not recognize limitations. It only recognizes the state you occupy. The greatest figures in history, from inventors to artists to spiritual leaders, have all understood this truth. They did not wait for the world to show them what was possible. They imagined it first. The great inventions of today were once dismissed as impossible fantasies. The breakthroughs that have shaped civilization were first held in the minds of those who dared to believe in the unseen. You have this same power. Right now, in this very moment, you can begin to reshape your reality. You do not need permission from anyone, nor do you need external validation. The only requirement is that you accept the truth. Imagination creates reality. And once you accept this, you can never see the world the same way again. Your imagination is the bridge between the invisible and the visible, the formless and the formed. You are always standing at the doorway of possibility, and with each thought, you choose which world to step into. Do not let fear, doubt, or logic dictate your fate. Instead, take control of your imagination, and with absolute conviction, claim the life that is already yours in the unseen. The moment you do, reality has no choice but to rearrange itself to match your vision. To manifest anything in your life, you must not only think about it, but also assume the feeling of fulfillment. This is the key to turning desire into reality. You cannot simply wish for something and hope it happens. You must step into the state of already having it. The feeling itself is the bridge between imagination and physical reality. When you assume the feeling, you shift your consciousness to a new state of being, and reality must conform to match it. Most people approach their desires from a place of lack. They see what they want, but they feel the absence of it. They hope, they wish, they dream, but deep down they reinforce the belief that it is not yet theirs. This is why so many struggle to manifest their desires. They are more focused on not having than on already possessing. But reality does not respond to wishes. It responds to states of being. Imagine for a moment that you are an actor. You step onto the stage and take on a role. You immerse yourself in the emotions, the thoughts, and the reactions of this character until, for the audience, you become that person. The mind works the same way. When you assume the state of already having what you desire, you are playing the role, not pretending, but fully embodying the reality of it. The mind does not know the difference between what is real and what is vividly imagined. The more deeply you assume the feeling of fulfillment, the more inevitable your manifestation becomes. To truly grasp this concept, you must understand that inner experience precedes outer experience. You do not need to wait for your circumstances to change in order to feel different. You change the feeling first, and the circumstances follow. It is a mistake to believe that once something manifests, then you will feel joy, peace, or security. In truth, it is the other way around. You must feel the joy, peace, and security first, and then the outer world will reflect it. Think of a person who wins the lottery. Before they ever held the winning ticket, they likely fantasized about what it would be like to have great wealth. In those moments, they felt excitement, confidence, and abundance. Their consciousness entered the state of wealth before it physically arrived. The external event of winning was only a reflection of an internal shift that had already taken place. You can apply this same principle to anything you desire: love, success, health, or personal transformation. The key is to live in the end, meaning you mentally and emotionally dwell in the state of already having what you seek. When you live in the end, you no longer wait or hope. You become the person who already possesses it. You walk, talk, and think from the perspective of someone for whom the dream is already a reality. The reason this method is so powerful is that feeling is the secret to manifestation. Thoughts alone are not enough. They must be fused with emotion to become effective. The subconscious mind does not respond to words. It responds to feelings. It does not matter how many times you repeat an affirmation if, deep down, you do not believe it. What matters is whether you can feel the truth of your assumption. For example, if you desire love, you cannot just affirm "I am loved" while feeling lonely. You must shift your entire inner state to one of already being loved. How does it feel to be deeply cherished? How does it feel to be in a harmonious, fulfilling relationship? If you can capture that feeling and live in it, even before the outer proof arrives, your world will begin to shift. The same applies to financial abundance. If you desire wealth but constantly feel poor, you reinforce the state of lack. But if you assume the feeling of already being wealthy, walking with confidence, feeling secure, knowing abundance flows to you effortlessly, then the outer world must rearrange itself to reflect that state. One of the greatest challenges people face is that they allow their current circumstances to dictate what they believe is possible. They look at their empty bank account, their difficult relationships, or their health struggles and assume that these conditions are real and unchangeable. But the truth is that circumstances are just reflections of past states of being. They have no power over what comes next, unless you continue to give them attention and belief. Faith is the ability to believe in something before it is physically seen. It is the ability to hold the feeling of fulfillment even when reason denies it. If you base your belief on what your eyes see, you will always be a prisoner of circumstances. But if you base your belief on what you feel to be true in imagination, then you step into the role of the creator of your reality. Think of someone who has achieved great success. At some point, before they saw external results, they had to believe in their vision. They had to feel the excitement, the confidence, and the certainty of success, even when nothing in their environment supported it. That inner assumption became the force that shaped their reality. Many people try to assume the feeling of their wish fulfilled, but when they do not see immediate results, they give up. They look around, see no change, and assume that the process is not working. But manifestation is like planting a seed. When you place a seed in the soil, you do not expect it to sprout instantly. You trust the process. You water it, nurture it, and persist in knowing that beneath the surface, growth is happening. The same is true with manifestation. You must persist in the feeling of fulfillment regardless of what your senses tell you. You do not check every day to see if your wish has come true. You simply live as if it already has. You remain faithful to your assumption, knowing that reality must conform in time. This is why discipline is essential. You must train your mind to return again and again to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. If doubts arise, dismiss them. If fear creeps in, replace it with certainty. If the world tells you it is impossible, remind yourself that the world only reflects past states, and you are now living in a new state. The beauty of this practice is that you do not need to wait for anything outside of you to change. You can shift your inner state in an instant. Right now, you can close your eyes, take a deep breath, and assume the feeling of already having what you desire. You can feel the relief, the joy, the gratitude, and the confidence of knowing it is already done. And when you do, you have already begun the process of bringing it into reality. It only takes one moment of absolute conviction to change everything. When you enter a new state of being, reality has no choice but to reflect it. The only question is whether you will persist in that state or allow doubt to pull you back into the old one. You are always assuming something. Every moment, you are living in a state, whether it is abundance or lack, love or loneliness, success or failure. The key is to become conscious of the states you occupy and to choose deliberately. No one else is creating your reality. You are. And you do so through the feeling of fulfillment that you embody right now. The present moment is the point of creation. Most people believe that change takes time, that the journey from where they are to where they want to be is long and difficult. But this belief itself is a limitation, an illusion created by the mind. The truth is that transformation happens in an instant. The instant you shift your awareness, the instant you accept a new reality. You do not have to wait for the future to bring you what you desire. The only moment that exists is now, and now is where creation happens. The mind is conditioned to think in terms of past, present, and future, but consciousness operates outside of time. When you desire something, it does not exist in some far-off future. It is already real within the realm of imagination. Your job is not to chase it, but to bring your awareness into alignment with it. This is why the present moment is so powerful. It is the place where you decide what is real for you. Right now, as you read these words, your mind is processing thoughts, emotions, and perceptions. But the question is, what are you assuming to be true in this moment? Are you dwelling in the state of lack, hoping that one day things will change? Or are you stepping into the reality of already having what you seek? Your consciousness is like a radio transmitter. It is always broadcasting a signal. That signal is your dominant feeling, your assumption about life. The world then reflects that signal back to you in the form of circumstances and experiences. If you want to change what appears in your life, you must change what you are broadcasting in this moment. Not tomorrow, not next week, now. Now. Time is an illusion of the physical world, a construct that helps the mind organize events. But manifestation does not happen in time. It happens in states of consciousness. When you assume a state, You do not need to wait for some external process to unfold. You have already shifted into a new reality. Think of a dream. When you are dreaming, you do not question how long it takes for something to appear. If you imagine a door, it appears. If you expect to see a person, they are there. The same principle applies to waking reality. The only difference is that waking reality appears to have a delay. This delay exists because of the density of the physical world, but the fundamental process is the same. If you insist on believing that change takes time, then that belief itself becomes your reality. But if you recognize that time is just an illusion, you step into the understanding that what you seek is already here, now. You are not moving toward your desire is already present within you. You only need to align with it. How do you step into the present moment fully? By immersing yourself in the feeling of already being the person you wish to be. This is not about forcing or pretending. It is about shifting your attention completely. Take a moment to close your eyes. Think of something you deeply desire, not as a distant goal, not as something you are hoping to achieve one day, but as something that is already yours. How does it feel to have it now? How do you walk, speak, and think as the version of yourself who already possesses this reality? When you drop all resistance, when you let go of the idea that you are on your way to something, and instead claim that you already are the person who has it, you collapse the illusion of time. You step into the only moment that matters, the present moment, and in that moment, your reality begins to shift. Most people think change is a long, gradual process, but true transformation happens the moment you decide, the moment you say, "This is my reality now," and refuse to entertain any thought to the contrary. The entire universe responds. Think of someone who breaks a lifelong habit in an instant. Perhaps they smoked for years, and then one day something shifts within them. They no longer identify as a smoker. They do not try to quit. They simply step into a new state of being where smoking is no longer part of their reality. No struggle, no effort, just a single decision. The same principle applies to anything you wish to manifest. The instant you decide, truly decide, that something is already yours, you step into that new state. Reality then begins to rearrange itself to reflect your new assumption. To live from the end means to think and feel as the version of yourself who already has what you desire. You must bring this feeling into the present moment, not as something you are trying to achieve, but as something you already are. If you desire wealth, do not wait for money to show up before feeling abundant. Feel wealthy now. If you desire love, do not wait for a relationship to make you feel love. Feel deeply cherished now. This is not a trick, it is the fundamental law of consciousness. Whatever you embody in the present moment becomes your reality. If you live in lack, you attract lack. If you live in fulfillment, you attract fulfillment. Your external world is simply a mirror of your dominant inner state. If you want to know what you truly believe, look at what is manifesting in your life. Not as a form of judgment, but as a tool of awareness. The outer world is showing you what you have been assuming internally. Change your inner state now, and the outer world must follow. The only thing standing between you and the life you desire is awareness. You must become aware of what you are assuming in each moment. Most people drift through life unconsciously, reacting to circumstances rather than shaping them. But the moment you become aware of your state of being, you gain the power to shift it. Every time you catch yourself falling into old assumptions, stop. Ask yourself, what am I assuming to be true in this moment? Is it aligned with the reality I desire? If not, shift immediately. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. This does not require effort, it requires a decision. You do not have to force yourself into a new state. You simply allow yourself to be there. You release the old story, the old doubts, and step into the present moment fully. You are not at the mercy of circumstances, you are the creator of them. When you embody a new state in the present moment, the world has no choice but to conform. The people, events, and opportunities that match your new state begin to appear. It may seem like magic, but it is simply the natural law of consciousness in action. Remember, manifestation does not take time. It takes alignment. The moment you shift your awareness, reality begins to shift with you. You do not need to wait. The future is not something you move toward. It is something you create now. The same applies to love, success, health, anything you desire. You must make a firm decision before the outer world confirms it. The decision itself is what bends reality. If you look at quantum physics, you will see a fascinating principle: the observer effect. Scientists have found that when they observe a particle, their observation affects the outcome. Reality does not exist in a fixed state. It is shaped by consciousness. Your mind is the observer. The moment you decide on a reality and refuse to entertain anything contrary to it, you lock that reality into place. It is no longer a possibility, it is a certainty. This is why people who make clear, definite decisions experience rapid change. They are no longer fluctuating between different states, sending mixed signals to the universe. They are broadcasting one clear, unwavering frequency. One of the most powerful effects of a strong decision is that it eliminates doubt. When you have not fully decided on something, your mind wavers. You go back and forth between belief and disbelief, creating resistance. The same principle applies to relationships, career success, financial abundance, or any area of life. The moment you fully commit, the shift happens. The universe responds immediately because your consciousness has changed. If you want to create a radical shift in your life, you must learn how to make decisions with absolute conviction. Here is how. Get clear on what you want. Before you can decide on something, you must know exactly what you desire. Most people are vague, saying things like, "I want to be happier," or "I want more money." Instead, be specific. I am now living a life of financial freedom, earning $10,000 a month. I am now in a loving, healthy relationship. Clarity strengthens decision. Drop all other options. A true decision means there is no other choice. The moment you leave room for maybe, you weaken the power of your decision. Decide that this is your reality now, and do not entertain any alternatives. Feel it as real now. Do not wait for the external world to show you results. Assume the feeling now. If you desire wealth, feel wealthy now. If you desire love, feel deeply loved now. The external world will adjust to match your inner state. Act in alignment immediately. Your actions should reflect your new decision. If you have decided to be successful, start acting like someone who is successful now. Dress the part, think the part, move with confidence. Every action you take should reinforce your new reality. Refuse to entertain doubt. The moment you catch yourself thinking, "But what if it doesn't happen?" stop immediately. Shift back into certainty. Remind yourself, "This is my reality now." Protect your decision fiercely. The instant shift that comes with decision. Many people spend years struggling, searching for answers, waiting for a breakthrough. But the truth is, the breakthrough is already available. It is just waiting for you to decide. You do not need to fix all the details, figure out every step, or struggle your way forward. You simply need to make a firm decision right now that your desired reality is already yours. From that moment, everything begins to change. The people, opportunities, and circumstances that match your new state start to appear. The universe moves in response to your consciousness. So, take a moment now, close your eyes, breathe deeply, and declare within yourself, "This is my reality now. I have already received what I desire. I am living it now." There is a moment when everything changes, and that moment is when you completely embody the feeling of your wish fulfilled. It is not about hoping, wishing, or waiting for something to happen in the future. It is about claiming it as already done. The mind does not distinguish between what is imagined with full belief and what is experienced in the external world. When you feel as though you already have something, reality must shift to reflect that feeling. The external world is a mirror of your inner state, and the moment you persist in the assumption that your desire is already yours, the outer world conforms. Most people believe they must wait for evidence before they feel something is true. They wait for money to appear before they feel abundant. They wait for love before they feel loved. They wait for success before they feel successful. But this is not how reality operates. It does not bring you what you want, it brings you what you are. And what you are is determined by what you feel to be true. Feeling is the secret. It is not enough to say words or repeat affirmations without conviction. The power is in the feeling that arises when you immerse yourself in the assumption that your desire is already real. This is why a moment of deep emotion can shift reality faster than years of effort. If you can completely accept in a single moment that your desire is already fulfilled and feel it as real, then the change happens instantly. The bridge of incidents that follows is merely the unfolding of what has already been accepted in consciousness. Think of a time when something happened in your life unexpectedly. Perhaps it was a sudden change, an opportunity that came out of nowhere, or a shift in circumstances you never saw coming. If you reflect deeply, you will realize that at some point before it happened, you had already assumed it as true, even if just for a moment. Maybe you had a deep knowing, an unshakable feeling that it was done. That feeling, even if brief, set the entire chain of events into motion. This is why those who achieve great success, wealth, and love often speak of a moment where they just knew. Before anything changed externally, they had already lived it internally. They had already walked in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. The mistake most people make is that they think they need to see evidence first, but the evidence follows the feeling, not the other way around. The way to bring anything into your life is to first bring it into your consciousness. Live in the end result, feel it as though it is happening now. If you desire wealth, do not dwell in thoughts of lack. Instead, carry yourself with the confidence of someone who is already wealthy. If you desire love, do not wait for someone else to give it to you. Feel deeply loved now, knowing that love is already yours. The outer world must then reflect this state. This is not about pretending or forcing belief. It is about fully immersing yourself in the experience of having what you desire. When you close your eyes and imagine, do it so vividly that your entire body responds. Let your heart race with excitement. Let your breathing change as if you are experiencing it now. The subconscious mind does not differentiate between an experience that happens in the physical world and one that is deeply felt in imagination. When you remain in this state, even if nothing seems to change immediately, you have planted the seed. The law does not fail. The universe must conform. The time it takes to manifest depends only on how persistently you remain in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. If you waver between belief and doubt, you delay the process. But if you remain steady in your assumption, if you refuse to entertain thoughts of lack or impossibility, then what you have felt internally must harden into fact. Look at the lives of those who have effortlessly attracted what they desire. You will find one common trait. They do not question whether it will happen. They know it is already done. They do not place their attention on obstacles or limitations. Instead, they live in the assumption that what they desire is inevitable, And because they persist in that state, reality bends to match it. Every great achievement begins in the unseen world of imagination. Everything you see around you was once a thought, a vision in someone's mind. The greatest inventions, the tallest buildings, the most beautiful works of art, all of them existed first in consciousness before they appeared in the physical world. Your desires are no different. They are already real in the unseen. The only thing that determines whether they appear in your world is how consistently you remain in the state of the wish fulfilled. It is not about time, it is about certainty. The moment you fully accept something as true in consciousness, time ceases to be a factor. The universe will rearrange itself in ways you could never predict to bring your desire into form. You do not need to know how, you only need to know that it is done. Doubt is the only thing that keeps manifestations from appearing instantly. The moment you decide something is already yours and refuse to entertain any other possibility, reality conforms with astonishing speed. The reason most people do not see instant results is that they waver. They believe for a moment. Then they look at the external world for confirmation. When they do not see evidence, they fall back into doubt, undoing their assumption. But those who persist, who hold on to their belief without needing proof, are the ones who experience rapid manifestations. Feeling is not just about emotion, it is about conviction. It is about knowing beyond all doubt that what you have imagined is real. It is about walking through life as if the world has already rearranged itself to match your desire, even before the evidence appears. And when you do this, the evidence follows effortlessly. There is nothing outside of you that can stop what you have fully accepted as true within. No obstacle, no circumstance, no opposing force has the power to override a deeply felt assumption. The only limits are the ones you accept. When you remove doubt, when you embrace the feeling of the wish fulfilled as your dominant state, the impossible becomes inevitable. The present moment holds all the power you will ever need. It is the only place where creation happens. The past does not exist except in memory, and the future is only a projection of the mind. But right now, in this moment, you have the ability to claim any reality you desire. The reason most people fail to manifest what they want is that they spend their time either looking backward at what has been or looking forward in anticipation, hoping that something will change. But change does not happen in the past or future, it happens now. The moment you accept a new reality as true, without contradiction, the world begins to shift to match it. When you focus your attention entirely on the present and fully occupy the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you step into a new state of being. This is not about waiting for something to happen, but about knowing that it already has. The external world may not yet reflect it, but reality is shaped from within. The mistake most people make is that they look outside for validation. They wait for a sign, a shift, some proof that their new reality is forming. But all of that is secondary. The only proof you need is the feeling of certainty within you. Creation is finished. Every possibility already exists. The version of you that has what you desire is already real. The only thing that determines which version of reality you experience is your state of being. If you persist in feeling lack, doubt, or fear, then you align yourself with a version of reality that reflects those states. But if you embody the feeling of already having what you desire, then that is the reality you will experience. This is why a single moment of unwavering belief is more powerful than years of effort. There is nothing outside of you that dictates what you can or cannot have. You are not bound by circumstances, time, or limitations. The only thing that determines what manifests in your life is the assumption you hold in the present moment. Right now, you can choose to believe in lack, struggle, and waiting, or you can choose to believe in abundance, ease, and fulfillment. The choice is always yours. Most people do not realize that they are choosing, moment by moment, through the state they occupy. The way to shift reality is not through force or struggle, but through deep, unwavering acceptance. You do not need to fight against your current reality. You do not need to try to change what already exists. Instead, you simply shift your awareness to the reality you prefer and remain there. When you fully occupy a new state, everything else must shift to accommodate it. This is not wishful thinking. It is the fundamental nature of reality. Many people believe they must work hard, take endless action, and struggle to achieve their desires. But action taken from a state of doubt only reinforces the doubt. True manifestation happens when action is inspired from the feeling of already having what you want. When you act from a state of certainty, your actions flow effortlessly, and the results appear as if by magic. But action taken from a place of lack only leads to more lack. This is why so many people chase their desires for years without ever feeling fulfilled. They are operating from the assumption that they do not have what they want. And so reality continues to reflect that assumption. The key is to embody the new reality so fully that you forget the old one ever existed. If you can sit quietly, close your eyes, and feel with absolute certainty that you are already the person who has what you desire, then everything else takes care of itself. The details of how it happens are not your concern. The universe arranges all the necessary steps in ways that your logical mind could never predict. Doubt is the only thing that delays manifestation. The moment you say, "But I don't see it yet," you reinforce the old state. The moment you look for signs and wonder if it's working, you are acknowledging that it is not yet real to you. But when you remain firm in your assumption, when you refuse to entertain any reality other than the one you have chosen, then the world bends to match your inner state. Most people believe reality is fixed, that they must react to what already exists. But in truth, what exists now is only the result of past assumptions. If you continue to focus on what is, you will only create more of the same. But if you ignore the current reality and persist in the new assumption, the external world must eventually conform. This is not about denying what is in front of you, but about giving your full attention to what you prefer. The greatest shift happens in a single moment of realization. When you truly understand that you are the creator, that reality is fluid and responsive to your state of being, then you stop reacting and start consciously choosing. And when you choose with full conviction, without needing proof or validation, reality rearranges itself instantly. The only delay is the time it takes for you to fully accept the new reality as truth. Time itself is an illusion. What appears as waiting is only a reflection of your inner doubts. The moment you completely let go of the need to see proof, the proof appears. The reason manifestations seem to take time is that most people shift between belief and doubt, constantly undoing their own assumptions. But the moment you claim something as already yours, the outer world may take time to catch up, but the shift has already happened. The present moment is the point of power. Every moment you spend doubting, waiting, or wondering is a moment spent delaying your desire. But the moment you accept with full conviction that it is already done, everything changes. You do not need to struggle. You do not need to figure out how. It is all taken care of the moment you step into the new state. And when you remain there, the impossible becomes inevitable. The greatest truth that most people overlook is that the world outside is nothing more than a reflection of what is held within. Everything that appears in your life, every event, every person, every circumstance is merely a projection of your inner state. The reason this is not always obvious is that most people live in reaction to the world rather than consciously directing it. They look at their external reality and assume it is something separate from them, something they must respond to or struggle against. But the truth is that the world is a mirror, reflecting back the assumptions, beliefs, and feelings that are most deeply held. Most people attempt to change their lives by working on the external world. They seek to control circumstances, manipulate situations, and force things to happen. But this approach is backward. The external world is only an effect. The cause is always within. The more effort one exerts trying to change things on the outside, the more resistance is encountered. True change does not come from struggling with what already exists. It comes from shifting the state of consciousness that produced it. Imagine standing before a mirror and seeing an expression on your face that you dislike. If you attempt to change the reflection directly, if you reach out and try to alter what is in the mirror, you will find it impossible. The only way to change the reflection is to change yourself first. The mirror does not create, it only reflects. In the same way, reality does not create, it only reflects what is assumed to be true. The world you see is nothing but a reflection of the consciousness you hold. Wealth is not something you chase, it is something you become. And when you align with a state of riches, the signs begin to appear, whispering to you that abundance is near. They are not coincidences, they are the manifestation of your assumption hardening into fact. You no longer react to lack. Where once you may have felt frustration at a bill or concern over expenses, now there is a calm knowing within you. You observe the world with a quiet confidence, unshaken by temporary conditions. This is the first sign that detachment from appearances. You understand that what you see is merely an old reflection of past thoughts. Your inner reality has shifted, and soon the world must catch up. You find yourself naturally drawn to thoughts of wealth, not with longing, but with familiarity. Prosperity no longer feels like a distant dream. It feels normal, inevitable. You think of financial abundance as if it were already yours, because in your imagination it is. Your mind dwells in opulence, and the feeling of being rich becomes a part of your identity. This is the second sign, the effortless embodiment of wealth. Opportunities present themselves in ways you never expected. A conversation, a chance encounter, an idea that seems to come from nowhere. Suddenly the path appears before you. Doors open without force, because you are no longer seeking, you are simply allowing. This is the third sign, synchronicities, an effortless flow. You are now in harmony with the abundance that was always yours. Your circle begins to change. People who once doubted you fade into the background, and those who speak of expansion and success begin to appear. The energy around you shifts, aligning you with those who reflect your new state of mind. This is the fourth sign, the reshaping of your environment. The world outside is always an echo of the world within. You feel gratitude before the evidence arrives. There is no more waiting, no more questioning. You wake up with the quiet certainty that wealth is already yours, and that certainty shapes your every step. This is the fifth sign, the unwavering faith in what is unseen. The moment you feel it real, you have claimed it, and what you claim within must be expressed without. The way you react to your current financial situation reveals the state of consciousness you hold. Most people live in a state of reaction. They see lack, they feel frustrated, they focus on what is missing. But when you are on the path to wealth, something shifts. You stop reacting. You no longer allow external circumstances to dictate your inner world. Instead, you remain calm, knowing that what you see today is simply the outpicturing of past beliefs. Detachment from lack is not indifference. It is mastery. It is the realization that money, like everything else in life, is a manifestation of consciousness. If you dwell in the state of struggle, the world will reflect struggle back to you. But if you dwell in the state of wealth, regardless of what your bank account says today, the world must conform to your assumption. This is the law. This shift in awareness often happens subtly. You may notice that situations that once made you feel anxious, an unexpected bill, a temporary financial setback, no longer trigger fear. You acknowledge them, but you do not dwell on them. There is a quiet certainty within you that everything is working out in your favor, even if you cannot yet see how. This is a profound change because it signals that your inner state has already moved. The moment you stop reacting to lack, you are no longer in harmony with it. Many people believe they must fix their financial problems before they can feel abundant. But the truth is the opposite. You must feel abundant before wealth can appear. The moment you detach from the illusion of scarcity, you shift into the reality of prosperity. This is why some people seem to attract money effortlessly while others struggle for years. The ones who attract it have made peace with it. Though they do not chase wealth, they assume it. They do not fear losing money because they know they are the source of it. This detachment also changes the way you speak and think about money. You stop using phrases like, "I can't afford that," or "money is hard to come by." Instead, you replace them with thoughts that reflect a state of trust. Money flows easily to me. I always have more than enough. Everything I need comes to me at the perfect time. These statements are not just affirmations, they are declarations of your new reality. And as you persist in them, they become your experience. Another sign that you are detaching from lack is that you stop comparing yourself to others. You no longer feel envy or resentment toward those who have wealth because you recognize that their success is proof of what is possible for you. Instead of feeling separate from prosperity, you feel connected to it. You admire abundance wherever you see it, knowing that what you appreciate, you attract. Detachment does not mean avoiding financial responsibility. It means handling money with confidence rather than fear. You pay bills with gratitude, knowing that money is always circulating back to you. You invest in yourself without hesitation, understanding that wealth responds to expansion, not contraction. You trust that whatever you give, you receive in greater measure. This inner shift is what makes wealth inevitable. It is not about trying harder, working longer hours, or chasing opportunities. It is about becoming the version of yourself who is already rich. When you no longer react to lack, you have stepped into a new state of being, and the outer world must follow. Wealth is not something you chase, it is something you become. The moment you shift your identity, money can no longer remain separate from you. When you embody the state of wealth, you no longer hope to be rich one day, you feel it as your present reality. This transformation happens internally first, and the external world eventually catches up. At first, this shift may seem subtle. You begin to notice that money no longer feels distant or unattainable. You stop thinking of wealth as something out there and start to feel it as natural, as if it has always been yours. This is the first sign that you are aligning with riches. You are no longer longing for abundance, you are assuming it. People who struggle with money often place it on a pedestal, treating it as something special, something difficult to attain. They see it as separate from themselves. But those who embody wealth see money as an extension of their state of being. They do not worship it, nor do they worry about losing it, because they know they are the source. Think of how you feel about air. You do not worry about whether there will be enough air for you to breathe tomorrow. You assume its presence without a second thought. This is how the wealthy feel about money. It is simply there, always available, always flowing. This effortless assumption is what draws financial abundance into their lives. Embodying wealth means carrying yourself with the quiet confidence of someone who knows they are rich, even before the evidence appears. You do not need to flaunt it. You simply exist in the knowing. Your thoughts, emotions, and actions naturally align with prosperity. One of the clearest signs that you are stepping into this embodiment is the way you speak and think about money. Your language shifts from lack to abundance. You no longer say, "I can't afford this," but rather, "How can I make this possible?" You no longer dwell on financial struggles. Instead, you focus on opportunities. You recognize that your words shape your reality, so you choose them wisely. Your emotions also transform. When you imagine wealth, you no longer feel a sense of longing, but a deep inner gratitude. You do not fantasize about money with desperation. You feel as if you already have it. This shift is crucial because your subconscious mind does not distinguish between what is real and what is imagined. If you consistently feel wealthy, your subconscious accepts it as truth and begins shaping your reality accordingly. Your habits begin to reflect your new identity. You start making financial decisions as a wealthy person would. This does not mean reckless spending. It means valuing yourself and your resources. You invest in your growth. You seek knowledge. You carry yourself with dignity. You understand that wealth is not just about money. It is a state of being, a way of thinking and living. Another powerful sign of embodiment is how you react to setbacks. Before, an unexpected expense might have triggered panic. Now, you handle it with calm assurance, knowing that money flows in and out effortlessly. You trust that any money spent will return multiplied. This faith is what allows abundance to flow freely to you. Opportunities begin to appear effortlessly because your subconscious is now attuned to wealth. Where others see obstacles, you see potential. Your mind is alert to possibilities that once seemed invisible. This is not luck. It is alignment. The world is simply responding to the state you have assumed. Embodying wealth also changes the way people perceive you. You start attracting those who reflect your new mindset. Conversations shift from complaints about money to discussions of expansion and prosperity. Your presence exudes success, and others can feel it. This energy draws more abundance into your life, creating a cycle of prosperity. This transformation is not about forcing yourself to believe in wealth. It is about relaxing into it. It is about accepting that prosperity is your natural state. The moment you stop trying to be rich and simply feel it is real, you cross the threshold. The external world has no choice but to conform to your inner state. When wealth is on its way to you, the universe begins to arrange the pieces of your life in ways you could never have planned. This is one of the clearest signs that you are stepping into financial abundance. You start noticing synchronicities, unexpected opportunities, and seemingly random events that all point toward prosperity. What once seemed impossible begins to unfold effortlessly, as if life itself is conspiring in your favor. At first, these signs may appear small. You might receive an unexpected refund, a gift, or a new client out of nowhere. You might overhear a conversation that leads you to an opportunity. You may even find money in places you weren't looking. While these moments might seem like coincidences, they are actually reflections of your shifting state of consciousness. They are indicators that you are aligning with the flow of abundance. Synchronicities begin to appear more frequently when you have mentally and emotionally aligned with wealth. This is because your subconscious mind, once programmed for limitation, is now tuned to opportunities. Where before you may have ignored or dismissed possibilities, now you recognize them instantly. You are seeing the same world, but through the eyes of someone who expects prosperity rather than scarcity. One of the most remarkable things about this shift is that opportunities often arrive in ways you never expected. You may have believed that your wealth would come through one particular path, a job promotion, a business deal, but instead it arrives from a completely different direction. This is the power of detachment. When you are not fixated on how money should come, you allow it to arrive in the most effortless way possible. This is why many people, when they stop worrying about money, suddenly experience financial breakthroughs. It is not that money wasn't available before. It was always there, but worry and doubt block its flow. The moment you relax into trust, you become open to receiving wealth in ways you never imagined. Another clear sign that you are aligning with wealth is the people who enter your life. You begin to attract individuals who match your new state of abundance. You may find yourself surrounded by successful, driven, and positive-minded people. Conversations shift from complaints about money to discussions about opportunities, investments, and expansion. This is no accident. Your energy is drawing in people who reflect your new mindset. Just as new people enter, old connections may fade away. Some relationships may no longer resonate with you. People who once encouraged a mindset of lack and limitation may naturally drift from your life. This is part of the transformation. You cannot step into wealth while remaining surrounded by those who reinforce scarcity. One of the most powerful shifts happens when you start recognizing hidden opportunities in challenges. A setback that once would have frustrated you now appears as a stepping stone. You begin to see financial obstacles as temporary illusions, knowing that every problem carries the seed of a greater solution. This perspective is what separates those who struggle from those who thrive. Wealthy individuals see setbacks as setups for success. You may also notice that you feel a strong pull toward new ideas and ventures. Inspiration comes effortlessly, and you feel a natural excitement about pursuing opportunities that once felt out of reach. This is not a coincidence. Your subconscious mind is now guiding you toward paths of wealth. The ideas that excite you the most are often the keys to your prosperity. Synchronicities, unexpected wealth, and new opportunities are all confirmations that you are stepping into the state of abundance. But the most important thing is how you respond to them. Do you embrace them with trust, or do you question and doubt them? The more you trust the unfolding of events, the faster your external reality will reshape itself. When you see these signs, take them as evidence that wealth is already yours. Do not dismiss them as luck or coincidence. Recognize them as reflections of your new state of consciousness. Keep assuming wealth, keep embodying prosperity, and watch as life continues to reveal opportunities that lead you directly to the riches you were always meant to have. When you are about to become rich, one of the most undeniable signs is the transformation of your self-position. You no longer see yourself as someone who struggles with money or as someone who is waiting for wealth to appear. Instead, you begin to identify as a wealthy person before the physical evidence arrives. This shift in identity is the foundation of lasting prosperity because the world outside of you can only reflect what you believe to be true about yourself. At first, this change happens subtly. You start to think differently about money, success, and your own value. The doubts and insecurities that once held you back begin to fade. You no longer feel unworthy of abundance. Instead, you expect it. You begin to carry yourself with quiet confidence, not because of what you have in the bank, but because of who you know yourself to be. People often believe that they will feel rich after they receive money, but this is not how reality works. It is the feeling of wealth that comes first and the money follows. This is why so many people who suddenly acquire wealth, whether through inheritance, a lottery win, or a business breakthrough, often lose it just as quickly. Their self-image was never aligned with wealth, so their subconscious mind found ways to return them to a familiar state of lack. The shift in self-picture happens in many ways. One of the first things you may notice is that your language changes. You stop speaking from a place of limitation. You no longer say, "I can't afford this," or "I hope I get lucky." Instead, you say, "Money flows to me, I always find a way," or "Wealth is a natural part of my life." Your words begin to reflect your new inner reality, and because words carry energy, they shape the reality that follows. Your emotional relationship with money also transforms. Where you once may have felt anxiety around finances, you now feel a deep sense of peace. You are no longer desperate for money because you know it is already on its way to you. You no longer chase wealth with fear, you attract it with certainty. This emotional shift is crucial because your subconscious mind responds to feelings more than words. If you feel rich, your subconscious will work tirelessly to create conditions that match that feeling. As your self-image evolves, your habits and decisions begin to align with wealth. You start making choices from a place of abundance rather than scarcity. You no longer buy cheap things out of fear that you won't have enough. Instead, you invest in quality, knowing that you're always provided for. You stop seeing money as something to hoard and begin seeing it as something that flows in and out naturally. It does not mean reckless spending. It means trusting that money is a tool meant to be used wisely. You begin to make financial decisions with a long-term perspective. You invest in your growth, whether through education, business, or personal development, because you now see yourself as someone who is always expanding. Another clear sign of this transformation is how you handle setbacks. Before, an unexpected expense or financial challenge may have sent you into panic mode, but now you respond with calm and certainty, knowing that money flows effortlessly to you. You see financial fluctuations as natural, just as the tide moves in and out. You do not fear temporary challenges because you know they are just that. You also begin to notice that the way people treat you changes. Others start to respect you more, not because of what you have, but because of how you carry yourself. You exude confidence, and confidence is magnetic. People are naturally drawn to those who believe in themselves, and as your self-image shifts, you attract individuals who match your new level of success. This transformation even affects your posture, your tone of voice, and the way you move through the world. You walk with purpose. You speak with clarity. You no longer seek approval or validation because you know who you are. This shift is powerful because the world responds not to what you say you want, but to who you are. The most powerful sign that your self-perceive has changed is that you no longer question whether wealth is coming. You assume it. You live in the end, feeling as though the money is already yours. You think from wealth rather than about it. You no longer wish for financial freedom, you embody it. And as this new identity becomes second nature, the external world must conform. The opportunities, the connections, the resources, they all begin to appear, not by chance, but by law. This shift in self-image is not something you force. It is something you become. And once you become it, wealth is no longer something you chase, it is something that must find you. A powerful sign that wealth is on its way to you is a deep, unshakable sense of gratitude. But this is not just ordinary gratitude, the kind where you simply acknowledge the good things in your life. This is an all-encompassing state of being where you feel abundant even before external riches appear. It is the kind of gratitude that transforms your entire reality because it aligns you with the frequency of wealth. Most people wait until they receive money before they feel grateful. They say, "I'll be thankful when I get the job, when my business takes off, when I have financial freedom." But those who truly understand the laws of the universe know that gratitude must come first. It is not a reaction to abundance, it is the cause of it. When you embody this deep gratitude, you are sending a clear message to the universe. I already have wealth. I am already provided for. I am already blessed beyond measure. And because the world outside of you is simply a mirror of your internal state, it has no choice but to reflect that reality back to you. At first, this gratitude might begin with small things. You start noticing and appreciating everything that is already in your life. The money you do have, the opportunities that come your way, the roof over your head, the food on your table. You no longer take anything for granted. Instead of focusing on what you lack, you focus on what you already possess. And in doing so, you expand it. Gratitude is one of the most powerful energetic states because it is rooted in certainty. When you are grateful, you are affirming that life is already taking care of you. There is no need to worry, no need to chase, no need to doubt. you are resting in the knowing that abundance is already yours. And this state of trust allows wealth to flow effortlessly into your life. One of the first changes you may notice when you begin living in deep gratitude is how your emotions shift. Anxiety about money starts to fade. You no longer feel desperate because you know that you are always supported. You no longer operate from a place of fear, but from a place of assurance. This shift in emotions affects everything: your decisions, your actions, and even the way people respond to you. When you feel abundant, you radiate abundance. People are naturally drawn to you. Opportunities seem to come out of nowhere. You find yourself in the right place at the right time, meeting the right people, having conversations that open doors. Gratitude also rewires your subconscious mind. The more you focus on abundance, the more your mind starts seeking it out. You begin noticing opportunities that were always there, but that you may have overlooked before. You start having ideas, insights, and inspirations that guide you toward financial success. Another powerful effect of deep gratitude is that it removes resistance. Many people unknowingly block their own wealth by focusing on what they don't have. They think about their debts, their struggles, their lack of opportunities, and in doing so, they create more of the same. But when you shift into gratitude, you stop feeding energy into what is missing. Instead, you amplify what is already good, and as a result, more good flows into your life. Gratitude also transforms the way you handle money. Instead of feeling stressed when you pay a bill, you feel thankful that you have the resources to do so. Instead of feeling lack when you spend, you feel appreciation for what money allows you to experience. This shift is crucial because money responds to the energy you hold around it. When you bless money and treat it with respect, it multiplies. Another remarkable thing about deep gratitude is how it alters your relationship with time. You stop feeling like you have to rush or force things to happen. You understand that everything is unfolding in perfect timing. This patience and trust create a space for wealth to flow naturally, rather than through struggle and effort. One of the clearest signs that you are stepping into financial abundance is when you start feeling grateful for things before they happen. You no longer say, "I will be thankful when I am rich." Instead, you say, "I am so grateful for the wealth that is already on its way to me." This is a powerful shift because it places you in the state of already having what you desire. And when you assume that something is already yours, reality has no choice but to bring it to you. Living in gratitude does not mean ignoring challenges. It means trusting that every experience, even the difficult ones, is leading you toward greater abundance. When setbacks happen, you see them as opportunities to learn, grow, and expand. You no longer dwell on problems. You focus on solutions. This deep sense of gratitude also extends to the people around you. You start to appreciate those who have supported you, those who have challenged you, and even those who have doubted you, because you recognize that every interaction has played a role in shaping your journey. Gratitude makes you magnetic. It creates an energy field that attracts the right people, the right circumstances, and the right resources into your life. When you reach this state, wealth becomes inevitable. You no longer have to chase money. It comes to you effortlessly. You no longer have to prove yourself. You simply embody abundance. And as this gratitude deepens, your external reality continues to shift in ways that confirm what you already know. You are rich. You have always been rich. And now the world is simply catching up to that truth. A powerful sign that wealth is about to enter your life is a deep, unshakable sense of gratitude. But this is not just the surface level gratitude that most people practice, the kind where you say thank you out of habit. This is an all-consuming state of being where you no longer see yourself as lacking anything. It is the kind of gratitude that shifts your reality because it aligns your mind, emotions, and energy with the frequency of wealth. Most people wait for wealth to appear before they feel grateful. They say, I will be thankful when I get the promotion, when my business takes off, when my bank account is full. But those who truly understand the nature of reality know that gratitude must come first. Gratitude is not a reaction to abundance, it is the cause of it. Everything in your world is a reflection of your internal state. If you feel lack, you will see lack. If you feel abundant, abundance will manifest around you. When you embody deep gratitude, you are telling the universe, I already have everything I need. I am already taken care of. I am already wealthy. And because the world outside you is just a mirror of your consciousness, it has no choice but to reflect that truth back to you. At first, this shift begins subtly. You start appreciating things you once overlooked. The roof over your head, the food on your table, the money you do have, no matter how small. You stop taking anything for granted. Instead of worrying about bills, you feel grateful that you have the means to pay them. Instead of longing for more, you appreciate what you already possess. And in doing so, you expand it. Gratitude is a powerful, energetic state because it is rooted in certainty. When you are grateful, you are affirming that life is already taking care of you. There is no fear, no doubt, no sense of struggle. You are operating from a state of having, not wanting. And this is key because wanting something implies that you lack it, while gratitude confirms that it is already yours. One of the first things that happen when you begin living in deep gratitude is a shift in your emotions. Anxiety about money starts to fade. You stop feeling desperate. You stop chasing. You no longer operate from fear, but from trust. And this emotional shift changes everything. It affects the decisions you make, the risks you take, and the way people perceive you. When you embody abundance, you radiate abundance. People can sense it. You carry yourself differently. You speak with confidence. You make bold moves. And as a result, the right people, opportunities, and resources naturally find their way to you. Gratitude also rewires your subconscious mind. The more you focus on abundance, the more your mind starts seeking it out. You begin to notice opportunities that were always there, but that your past mindset blinded you to. You start having new ideas, insights, and inspirations that guide you toward financial success. Your mind, once conditioned to see lack, begins to expect prosperity, and what you expect, you receive. Another powerful effect of deep gratitude is that it removes resistance. Many people unknowingly block their own wealth by focusing on what they don't have. They think about their debts, their struggles, their lack of resources, and in doing so, they attract more of the same. But when you shift into gratitude, you stop feeding energy into lack. Instead, you amplify what is already good, and as a result, more good flows into your life. Gratitude also changes the way you handle money. Instead of feeling stress when you pay a bill, you feel appreciation. Instead of feeling guilty about spending, you feel thankful for what money allows you to experience. This shift is crucial because money responds to the energy you hold around it. When you bless money and treat it with respect, it multiplies. Another remarkable transformation that happens when you live in deep gratitude is your perception of time. You stop feeling like you have to rush or force things to happen. You trust in divine timing. You understand that everything is unfolding perfectly, and this patience allows wealth to flow naturally, rather than through struggle and effort. One of the clearest signs that you are stepping into financial abundance is when you start feeling grateful for things before they happen. You no longer say, I will be thankful when I am rich. Instead, you say, I am so grateful for the wealth that is already on its way to me. This is a powerful shift because it places you in the state of already having what you desire. And when you assume that something is already yours, reality has no choice but to bring it to you. Gratitude also changes the way you handle setbacks. Instead of seeing obstacles as failures, you see them as lessons, guiding you to greater abundance. You no longer dwell on problems, you focus on solutions. You understand that even challenges are part of the process. This deep sense of gratitude extends to the people around you. You start to appreciate those who have helped you, those who have challenged you, and even those who have doubted you, because you recognize that every interaction has played a role in shaping your journey. Gratitude makes you magnetic. It creates an energy field that attracts the right people, the right circumstances, and the right resources into your life. Wealth is not about luck, it is about alignment. And when you are deeply grateful for what you already have, you step into alignment with greater riches. You no longer have to chase money. It comes to you effortlessly. You no longer have to prove yourself. You simply embody abundance. When you reach this state, wealth becomes inevitable. You are no longer waiting for external circumstances to change. You have changed internally, and the external world must follow. This is the secret that few people understand. Most people believe that success will make them grateful, but in reality, gratitude is what makes them successful. Those who master this truth hold the key to limitless wealth. Wealth is not something you chase, it is something you become. The moment you shift your mind, your emotions, and your energy into alignment with abundance, the outer world has no choice but to reflect that reality back to you. The signs are already there. If you recognize them within yourself, the unwavering vision, the newfound discipline, the resilience in the face of obstacles, the deep inner trust, and the unshakable gratitude, then know this: wealth is not a distant dream, it is already unfolding. The universe does not operate on luck, it responds to certainty. When you step into the consciousness of wealth, wealth steps into you, not because you forced it, but because you embodied it. Now ask yourself, are you still waiting for riches to appear before you believe? Or have you already become the person who receives them? Because the answer to that question determines everything. The mind is the master key to every experience. It shapes reality according to the impressions it holds as truth. Nothing is impossible to the one who understands this law, for the world is but a reflection of the inner state. If you would achieve what seems impossible, you must first train your mind to accept it as already done. Thoughts, persistently held, crystallize into form. The unseen is the womb of creation, and all things are born from the assumption that they already exist. Do not seek signs in the external world, for they are only shadows cast by the convictions of the mind. Change the belief, and the world will move to align with it. To train the mind is to discipline imagination. It is to reject every appearance that contradicts your desired reality, and to dwell in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. When you close your eyes and immerse yourself in the experience of your desire as if it were already true, you are planting the seed. Do not dig it up with doubt, for it must take root in the unseen before it appears in the seen. The secret lies in feeling. Thought alone is not enough. It must be infused with the emotion of certainty. The moment you feel it real, you have shifted into the reality where it is so. The world, obedient to the mind's direction, must conform. No power exists outside of this law, and nothing can prevent its operation except the interference of doubt. Everything begins with identity. If you see yourself as limited, your world will mirror limitation. But if you assume the state of the one who has already achieved the impossible, nothing will be withheld from you. Live from the state, not toward it. Walk as though the reality you seek is already yours, and it must harden into fact. Let no circumstance shake your conviction. The mind is the only reality, and what is held within it with unwavering faith must express itself in time. The impossible is only the untrained mind's illusion, but to the disciplined dreamer, it is merely the next step in creation. The mind is the architect of reality. Everything that appears in your world is a direct result of the thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions you hold within. It is not circumstances that shape your life, but the way you perceive and interpret those circumstances. The mind is not just a passive observer of reality. It is the creator of reality. The world you see is nothing more than a projection of your inner state, a mirror reflecting the contents of your consciousness. To understand this, consider the way perception works. Two people can experience the same event and interpret it in entirely different ways. One sees failure, the other sees opportunity. One sees loss, the other sees transformation. What makes the difference? The conditioning of the mind. If you believe the world is full of limitations, you will encounter obstacles at every turn. If you believe that the universe is abundant, opportunities will appear effortlessly. Your life is not shaped by what happens to you, but by how you mentally respond to what happens to you. The subconscious mind is the foundation of creation. Whatever is impressed upon it must express itself in the outer world. This is an immutable law, operating with the same certainty as gravity. If you continually feed your subconscious with thoughts of failure, fear, and limitation, it will manifest those conditions in your life. But if you saturate your mind with thoughts of success, confidence, and abundance, your reality will shift to reflect those beliefs. There is no external force governing your destiny, only your own consciousness. Consider the power of belief. History is filled with examples of individuals who defied all odds because they refused to accept limitation. They did not allow their present conditions to define their future. Instead, they held firm to a vision of what they desired, acting as if it were already true. They understood that the mind is the key to transformation. The great inventors, artists, and leaders of the world did not wait for proof before believing in their vision. They believed first, and then reality conformed to their belief. To reshape your world, you must first reshape your mind. This requires a disciplined approach to thought. The untrained mind is reactive, constantly responding to external stimuli, allowing circumstances to dictate emotions and beliefs. But the trained mind directs reality by choosing what to accept as true. You do not have to accept the evidence of the senses if it contradicts your desires. The senses merely show a reflection of past thoughts. They do not determine future outcomes. A shift in perspective can transform even the most difficult situations. Suppose you are struggling with financial difficulties. If you focus on lack, worry about bills, and fear the future, you reinforce the state of poverty. But if you train your mind to see abundance, if you cultivate gratitude for what you have and assume the feeling of wealth, you begin to change the internal conditions that created the external lack. Over time, your reality will adjust to match your new inner state. The same principle applies to health. Many individuals have reversed illnesses by refusing to accept limitation. They did not deny the physical symptoms, but they denied the permanence of the condition. They held on to the belief that they were already healed, that wellness was their natural state. And as their minds accepted this as truth, the body followed. The mind and body are not separate. The body is an expression of the mind's assumptions. When you train your mind to believe in wholeness, the body must align. Relationships are also governed by this principle. If you assume that people are untrustworthy, you will continually attract experiences that confirm this belief. If you believe you are unworthy of love, you will unconsciously create situations that reinforce that feeling. But if you hold the assumption that you are loved, valued, and respected, the world will reflect that back to you. Others respond to the energy you project, and your relationships will transform as you change your inner dialogue. Training the mind requires persistence. The patterns of thought that have shaped your current reality were formed over time, and they will not change overnight. But with deliberate effort, you can rewire your mind to align with the reality you wish to create. Begin by becoming aware of your dominant thoughts. Are they filled with doubt and limitation, or are they focused on possibility and abundance? Whatever you dwell upon in your mind, you bring into form. Visualization is one of the most powerful tools for training the mind. When you close your eyes and imagine your desired reality in vivid detail, your subconscious mind accepts it as real. The more emotion you attach to this vision, the faster it will materialize. If you persist in this inner knowing, external conditions must shift to match it. The world has no choice but to conform to the convictions of your mind. The words you speak also shape your world. Every statement you make reinforces an internal belief. If you constantly say, "I can't afford this," or "I'll never be successful," you are programming your mind to accept lack. But if you shift your words to affirmations of abundance, "I am financially secure," "Opportunities flow to me effortlessly," you recondition your subconscious to expect prosperity. Words are not empty. They carry the power of creation. Faith is essential. There will be moments when external reality contradicts your desires, tempting you to revert to old beliefs. But if you truly understand that the mind is the source of all experience, you will not be swayed by appearances. You will persist in your inner assumption, knowing that reality must eventually conform. Those who achieve the impossible are those who refuse to be discouraged by temporary conditions. They hold on to their vision with unwavering faith, and the world reshapes itself in response. Your mind is the creative force behind everything you experience. It is not separate from the world, it is the world. To change your circumstances, you must change your thoughts. To transform your life, you must train your mind to see only that which you wish to experience. When you master your inner world, the outer world will follow. The mind is the architect of reality. Every experience, every event, and every circumstance that appears in your life is a direct result of the thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions you hold within. It is not the external world that shapes your reality, but your perception of it. The mind is not just a passive observer, it is the creator. Your world is a reflection of your inner state, a mirror reflecting back the beliefs and feelings you consistently hold. To understand this, consider how two people can experience the same event but interpret it entirely differently. One person sees failure, the other sees opportunity. One sees rejection, the other sees redirection. The difference is not in the event itself, but in the perception shaped by their minds. If you believe the world is full of obstacles, you will find them at every turn. If you believe the world is abundant, you will see opportunities unfold before you. Your experience is not determined by what happens to you, but by how you mentally respond to it. The subconscious mind is the foundation of all creation. Whatever is impressed upon it must be expressed in the outer world. This is a law as certain as gravity. If you constantly dwell on thoughts of lack, fear, and limitation, your subconscious will accept them as truth and manifest them in your life. But if you fill your mind with thoughts of abundance, success, and confidence, your reality will shift accordingly. There is no external force shaping your destiny, only your own consciousness. History is full of examples of people who defied all odds simply by refusing to accept limitation. They did not allow present conditions to dictate their future. Instead, they clung to a vision of what they desired and acted as though it were already true. The great inventors, artists, and leaders of the world did not wait for proof before believing in their visions. They believed first, and then reality conformed to their belief. If you wish to change your reality, you must first change your mind. This requires discipline. The untrained mind is reactive, responding to external conditions and allowing circumstances to dictate its emotions. But the trained mind is deliberate, choosing what to accept as true. You do not have to accept the evidence of the senses if it contradicts your desires. The senses only show a reflection of past thoughts. They do not determine the future. Perspective is everything. Suppose you are struggling with financial difficulties. If you focus on lack, worry about money, and fear the future, you reinforce that state of poverty. But if you train your mind to see abundance, if you cultivate gratitude for what you have and assume the feeling of wealth, you begin to change the inner conditions that created the external lack. Over time, your reality must shift to match your new state. The same principle applies to health. Many people have reversed illnesses by refusing to accept limitation. They did not deny their symptoms, but they denied the permanence of their condition. They held on to the belief that they were already healed, that wellness was their natural state. And as their minds accepted this as truth, their bodies followed. The mind and body are not separate. The body is simply a reflection of the mind's assumptions. When you train your mind to believe in wholeness, the body must align. Relationships also follow this law. If you assume people are untrustworthy, you will attract experiences that confirm that belief. If you believe you are unworthy of love, you will unconsciously create situations that reinforce that assumption. But if you hold the belief that you are loved, valued, and respected, the world will mirror that back to you. Others respond to the energy you project, and your relationships will transform as your inner world does. Training the mind takes time and persistence. The thoughts that have shaped your current reality were formed over years, and they will not change overnight. But with conscious effort, you can recondition your mind to align with the reality you wish to create. The first step is awareness. Notice your dominant thoughts. Are they filled with doubt, fear, and limitation? Or are they focused on possibility and abundance? Or whatever you dwell upon in your mind, you bring into form. Visualization is a powerful tool for this transformation. When you close your eyes and vividly imagine your desired reality, your subconscious mind accepts it as real. The more emotion you attach to this vision, the faster it will manifest. If you persist in this inner knowing, external conditions must eventually align. The world cannot help but reflect the convictions of your mind. Words also shape your world. Every statement you make reinforces an internal belief. If you constantly say, "I can't afford this," or "I'll never succeed," you are programming your mind for lack. But if you shift your language to a firm abundance, "I am financially secure," opportunities flow to me effortlessly. You begin to recondition your subconscious to expect prosperity. Words are not empty, they carry the power of creation. Faith is crucial in this process. There will be times when external reality contradicts your desires, tempting you to revert to old patterns of thinking. But if you understand that the mind is the source of all experience, you will not be swayed by appearances. You will persist in your assumption, knowing that reality must conform in time. Those who achieve the impossible are those who refuse to be discouraged by temporary conditions. They hold on to their vision with unwavering faith, and the world reshapes itself in response. Your mind is the creative force behind everything you experience. It is not separate from the world, it is the world. If you wish to change your circumstances, you must first change your thoughts. If you want to transform your life, you must train your mind to focus only on what you wish to experience. When you master your inner world, the outer world will follow. Your reality is a direct reflection of what you consistently assume to be true. Every thought, every feeling, and every mental image you hold in your mind shapes the world around you. The mind is not just an observer of reality, it is the creator of reality. To achieve what seems impossible, you must first master the ability to assume its possibility. You must accept within your consciousness that your desired outcome is not only achievable, but already true in an unseen realm. Every great achievement throughout history was first conceived in the mind. Before the airplane, there was the vision of flight. Before the electric light, there was the belief in its possibility. Before any masterpiece, there was the artist's unwavering assumption that creation was inevitable. The only difference between those who achieve the impossible and those who do not is the ability to hold steadfast to an assumption regardless of what external reality suggests. The senses deceive. They show you only a reflection of past thoughts and beliefs. If you rely solely on what you see, hear, and touch, you will remain trapped in the limitations of the present. But if you train your mind to assume a reality beyond what the senses currently confirm, you set in motion an unseen process that will bring it into existence. The key is to persist in this assumption until it hardens into fact. Most people allow circumstances to dictate their beliefs. If they see struggle, they assume struggle must continue. If they experience failure, they assume success is impossible. But those who achieve greatness do the opposite. They assume success even in the face of failure. They persist in their inner conviction, knowing that the external world must eventually conform. This is not wishful thinking, it is a fundamental law of creation. Consider the power of assumption in everyday life. If you walk into a room believing that you are confident, capable, and respected, you will carry yourself differently. Your posture, tone, and energy will shift, and others will respond accordingly. But if you enter with an assumption of inferiority, your actions will reflect that belief, and the world will mirror it back to you. This principle operates at every level of life, from small interactions to the grandest achievements. The process of assumption is not passive. It requires conscious effort and discipline. You must deliberately choose the thoughts you entertain, refusing to dwell on anything that contradicts your desired state. If you wish to be wealthy, you must assume the feeling of wealth now, not at some distant future point. If you desire health, you must mentally live in the state of wholeness, even before physical evidence appears. Assumption is the seed from which all manifestations grow. Feelings play a crucial role in this process. It is not enough to think a new reality into being, you must feel it as though it were already true. The subconscious mind does not respond to idle thoughts, but to deeply felt emotions. If you wish to assume a new reality, you must immerse yourself in the experience of it. Ask yourself, how would I feel if this were already true? How would I act? What thoughts would dominate my mind? By aligning your emotions with your assumption, you accelerate its realization. Doubt is the greatest obstacle to assumption. The moment you question whether your new reality is possible, you weaken its foundation. This is why many people fail. They allow conflicting thoughts to take root. They affirm abundance but entertain fears of lack. They visualize success but speak words of failure. The mind cannot serve two masters. If you wish to assume a new reality, you must be unwavering in your conviction, refusing to entertain any thought that contradicts your vision. Visualization is one of the most powerful tools for strengthening assumption. When you close your eyes and vividly imagine your desired reality, you impress it upon the subconscious mind. The more real you make the experience, through sight, sound, touch, and emotion, the more firmly your assumption takes hold. The subconscious does not distinguish between what is real and what is vividly imagined. If you persist in your assumption, the subconscious will move heaven and earth to make it your lived experience. There is no need to force external change. Many people exhaust themselves trying to manipulate circumstances, unaware that reality is an inside-out process. True transformation begins within. When you assume a new reality, external conditions naturally shift to reflect your inner state. This is why those who achieve the impossible often seem to do so effortlessly. They do not struggle against the world. They change themselves, and the world follows. Every assumption you hold acts as a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you assume people will treat you poorly, you will unconsciously behave in ways that invite mistreatment. If you assume opportunities are scarce, you will filter out possibilities even when they are right in front of you. But if you assume that you are destined for success, that life is conspiring in your favor, and that all things are working for your good, reality will reshape itself to prove you're right. There is a profound peace that comes from living in assumption. When you truly accept a new reality within, there is no need for anxiety or struggle. You know that the process is set in motion. You trust that everything is unfolding as it should. This faith in assumption is the key to making the impossible possible. The moment you assume it is done, it is done. The external manifestation is simply a matter of time. Children understand this principle instinctively. When they play, they assume roles effortlessly. They become superheroes, explorers, royalty, without questioning whether it is real. Their imagination makes it so. But as we grow, we are conditioned to doubt, to rely only on what we see, to dismiss imagination as fantasy. Yet imagination is the blueprint of reality. What you assume with conviction today becomes the world you live in tomorrow. If you wish to achieve the impossible, start by assuming it is already done. Reject any thought that contradicts your vision. Feel the reality of it within you. Let it shape your actions, your words, your very being. Do not wait for proof. Assume it now, and proof will follow. The world cannot help but conform to the assumptions you persistently hold. Your subconscious mind is the silent architect of your life. It does not argue, it does not reason, and it does not question. It simply accepts whatever it is given and shapes your reality accordingly. The power of the subconscious is immense, yet most people remain unaware of its influence. They allow their minds to be programmed by external circumstances, unaware that they can deliberately shape their inner world to manifest their desires. Every thought you consistently hold, every belief you accept as true, and every emotion you dwell upon is impressed upon your subconscious mind. And once a belief is impressed deeply enough, it becomes an unquestioned reality dictating the circumstances of your life. This is why people seem trapped in repeating cycles, because they carry the same assumptions, the same emotions, and the same internal dialogue that keep them bound to their current conditions. To train your mind and achieve the impossible, you must reprogram your subconscious deliberately. This requires persistence, repetition, and a deep understanding that the subconscious does not distinguish between what is real and what is vividly imagined. The same mechanism that keeps you stuck in limitations can be used to free you. The key is to consistently feed your subconscious with new empowering beliefs and assumptions until they become your dominant reality. One of the most effective ways to reprogram the subconscious is through repetitions. The mind learns through habit. Just as a seed takes time to grow, new beliefs require constant reinforcement before they take root. This is why affirmations, visualizations, and mental rehearsals are so powerful. The more you impress a new idea upon the subconscious, the more it begins to accept it as fact. Eventually, it becomes your natural way of thinking and feeling. Consider how habits form. When you first attempt to learn a new skill, it requires effort. But with repetition, it becomes automatic. Walking, speaking, driving, all were once difficult, but through practice they became second nature. The same principle applies to your mental world. If you have spent years thinking thoughts of limitation, failure, and lack, your subconscious has accepted those beliefs as truth. But if you consistently introduce new thoughts of abundance, success, and possibility, your subconscious will eventually accept them as well. The language of the subconscious is emotion. Mere words do not impress the deeper mind. Feeling does. This is why casual affirmations often fail. If you repeat an affirmation without feeling its reality, your subconscious will reject it. But when you feel the truth of what you are saying, when you engage, persistence is the bridge between imagination and reality. It is the unwavering commitment to your inner vision, regardless of what your external circumstances suggest. The moment you decide to assume a new reality, the world around you may not immediately change. Your senses may still reflect the old conditions, and doubt may whisper that nothing is happening. But this is where most people falter. They allow their external world to dictate their inner conviction. To achieve the impossible, you must persist in your assumption until it hardens into fact. The truth is, reality does not change instantly. Every great transformation follows a period where nothing seems to happen. This is the testing ground where the weak give up and the strong hold firm. When you persist in an assumption, you are reconditioning your subconscious mind, aligning your energy with your vision, and preparing yourself to receive the manifestation. The mistake most people make is that they expect immediate results, and when they do not see them, they abandon their belief. They waver between faith and doubt, and in doing so, they halt the process of creation. Think of the process like planting a seed. When you plant a seed in the ground, you do not expect it to sprout immediately. You water it, you nurture it, and you trust that it will grow even before you see evidence of its existence. If you were to dig up the soil every day to check whether it is growing, you would disrupt the process and kill the seed. The same is true for your desires. Once you have planted the seed of assumption in your subconscious mind, your only task is to persist in the belief that it is already done. Doubt is the greatest enemy of persistence. The moment you entertain thoughts of failure, you weaken the foundation of your new reality. If you believe that something is true, yet constantly question whether it will happen, you are sending conflicting signals to your subconscious mind. Imagine trying to drive a car while pressing both the accelerator and the brake simultaneously. You will go nowhere. The mind works the same way. If you wish to achieve the impossible, you must fully commit to your assumption and refuse to be swayed by temporary appearances. Most people give up too soon. They allow delays to convince them that their desires are not meant to be. But delays are not denials. The universe operates on a perfect timeline, and every assumption will manifest in its own appointed time. The key is to remain steadfast in your belief, even when reality seems unchanged. The outer world is a lagging reflection of your inner world. And just as a boat takes time to turn, your external reality takes time to shift. One of the most powerful ways to strengthen persistence is through mental rehearsal. Every day, immerse yourself in the feeling of your wish fulfilled. See yourself already living in the reality you desire. Hear the sounds, feel the sensations, and embrace the emotions of having what you seek. The more real you make it in your imagination, the stronger your belief becomes. Over time, this assumption will solidify and your outer world will conform to it. Another key to persistence is self-discipline. The mind is easily swayed by circumstances, and if you are not vigilant, you may fall back into old patterns of thinking. This is why it is crucial to guard your thoughts and remain conscious of what you are feeding your mind. Surround yourself with reminders of your new reality. Write down your assumptions. Speak them out loud. Avoid negative influences that reinforce old beliefs. Do whatever it takes to keep your mind aligned with your vision. Many people believe that persistence requires effort and struggle, but this is a misunderstanding. True persistence is not about forcing things to happen. It's about maintaining an unwavering state of belief. There is a profound difference between striving for something and assuming it is already yours. When you persist in assumption, you enter a state of calm assurance. You no longer chase, beg, or worry. You simply know that it is done. Consider the stories of those who have achieved the impossible. Every great innovator, visionary, and pioneer persisted in their belief despite overwhelming opposition. When Thomas Edison was developing the light bulb, he failed thousands of times, yet he persisted because he assumed success was inevitable. When Walt Disney was rejected by financiers who believed his ideas were impractical, he did not waver. He persisted in his vision until the world conformed to it. When countless individuals throughout history were told their dreams were impossible, they refused to accept failure as an option. They held their assumptions until they became reality. Your mind is the ultimate creative force, and persistence is the key that unlocks its full power. When you refuse to accept anything other than your desired reality, when you persist despite doubt, fear, and delay, you send a clear message to the universe. This is my reality and I will not waver. The universe has no choice but to comply. If you look at your life now, every condition you experience is the result of past assumptions that you persisted in, whether consciously or unconsciously. The job you have, the relationships you maintain, the financial situation you find yourself in, all of it is a reflection of what you have believed to be true over time. If you wish to change any aspect of your life, you must persist in a new assumption until it takes root. One of the best ways to strengthen persistence is to detach from the how and when. Many people fail because they obsess over the details of how their desire will manifest. They constantly check for signs. They look for evidence, and they become discouraged when things do not happen on their timeline. But true persistence means surrendering the need to control the process. Assume that it is already done, and trust that reality will rearrange itself in ways you cannot foresee. When you persist in assumption, you will notice shifts, subtle at first, then undeniable. The people around you may change, opportunities may appear, and circumstances may begin to align in ways that seem almost miraculous. But these are not miracles. They are the natural outcome of unwavering belief. The final secret to persistence is gratitude. When you assume something is already done, you naturally feel grateful for it. Gratitude reinforces belief. It is a declaration that you trust the process. If you can give thanks for something before it has physically manifested, you are proving to your subconscious mind that you truly believe it is already yours. This state of gratitude speeds up manifestation and deepens your ability to persist. No matter what appears before you, no matter how long it takes, no matter how many times doubt tries to creep in, persist. Assume that your success is inevitable. Assume that your dreams are already a reality. Assume that all things are working in your favor. Hold on to this assumption, live from it, and refuse to let external circumstances shake your faith. In time, your assumption will harden into fact. The world will reflect back to you what you have steadfastly held in mind. What once seemed impossible will become your lived reality, not through force, but through the quiet power of persistence. Faith is the foundation of all creation. It is the invisible force that turns the unseen into the seen, the intangible into the tangible. Every great achievement, every manifestation, every so-called miracle is the result of faith in action. Without faith, the mind wavers, allowing doubt and fear to take root. But with faith, nothing is impossible. Faith is not merely hoping or wishing. It is knowing. It is the absolute conviction that what you desire already exists, even if your senses tell you otherwise. The challenge most people face is that they live by what they see rather than what they believe. They look at their current reality, and if it does not match their desires, they assume that their dreams are out of reach. But faith demands that you see beyond appearances. It requires that you walk by the certainty of your inner vision rather than the limitations of the outer world. When you train your mind to accept that what you desire is already yours, reality has no choice but to conform. Consider the nature of faith. It is the evidence of things not seen. It is the ability to stand firm in your assumption, even when there is no physical proof. The world teaches you to believe only in what can be measured, tested, and observed. But those who achieve the impossible operate by a different principle. They see with the mind's eye. They hold firm to an internal reality, and they refuse to let external circumstances dictate what they believe to be true. This is why the power of imagination is so crucial. The subconscious mind does not distinguish between what is real and what is vividly imagined. When you assume something with absolute faith, you impress it upon your subconscious, and it begins to work behind the scenes to bring it into reality. Your faith acts as a blueprint, guiding events, shifting circumstances, and aligning people and opportunities to match your inner conviction. The key to unwavering faith is detachment from the how and when. Many people sabotage their manifestations by constantly looking for evidence, checking for signs, and questioning the process. They become impatient, and in doing so, they signal doubt to their subconscious mind. Faith does not concern itself with details. Faith knows that the outcome is inevitable. When you truly believe something is already yours, you do not chase, beg, or worry. You rest in the assurance that it is done. One of the greatest obstacles to faith is fear. Fear is the enemy of creation. It paralyzes the mind, keeping it bound to limitation. Fear whispers that things will never change, that you are not capable, that failure is certain. But fear is an illusion. It is a projection of the past onto the future. The only way to overcome fear is to replace it with faith. When faith becomes stronger than fear, you become unstoppable. You no longer react to circumstances, you dictate them. Faith is not passive. It is not sitting idly by hoping that something will happen. Faith is an active force. It is the decision to align your thoughts, emotions, and actions with your desired reality. It is the unwavering commitment to your vision regardless of what the outside world reflects. When you truly believe, your entire being aligns with your assumption, and the world reshapes itself accordingly. One of the most powerful ways to strengthen faith is through daily mental discipline. Every day you must remind yourself of your inner vision. You must speak as if your desire is already fulfilled. You must feel the reality of your assumption with such intensity that it becomes more real to you than the physical world. This is not delusion. This is creation. The world you experience is nothing more than a reflection of the beliefs you hold. Change your beliefs, and you change your world. Faith is the key to breaking limitations. The only reason anything seems impossible is because you have accepted the idea that it is. But what if you assumed the opposite? What if you declared that nothing is out of reach? What if you chose to believe with absolute certainty that you already possess everything you desire? This is the mindset that transforms lives. Those who achieve greatness do not entertain doubt. They do not look at circumstances and allow them to dictate their beliefs. They dictate reality by the strength of their faith. Think of the stories of those who have defied the odds. Every great innovator, every pioneer, every visionary held an unshakable belief in their dreams long before they materialized. They did not need proof, validation, or reassurance. They simply knew. And because they knew, reality had no choice but to comply. Faith does not require evidence, it creates evidence. It is the unseen force that moves mountains, shifts timelines, and bends reality to your will. The moment you fully accept something as true, the universe begins to rearrange itself to reflect that truth. The delay between your assumption and its manifestation is only as long as you're wavering. The more steadfast your faith, the faster reality conforms. Another key to strengthening faith is gratitude. Gratitude is the language of certainty. When you give thanks for something before it has appeared in your physical world, you affirm your belief that it is already yours. This is a powerful secret. Most people wait until they see results before they feel grateful. But those who understand the power of faith give thanks in advance. They know that their assumption is reality, and their gratitude accelerates its manifestation. To live by faith is to live in the end. It means acting, thinking, and feeling as if your desire has already come to pass. It means walking through life with confidence, knowing that what you seek is already seeking you. It means refusing to entertain doubt, no matter how strong the illusion of lack may seem. Faith is a muscle. It must be exercised. The more you test it, the stronger it becomes. Begin with small assumptions. Assume something simple and watch as it comes to pass. As your confidence grows, you will realize that there are no limits. What once seemed impossible will become routine. The world will appear malleable, bending to your will, and you will come to understand that reality is not fixed. It is shaped by your convictions. If you wish to train your mind and achieve the impossible, cultivate unshakable faith. Assume the best. Believe in the unseen and refuse to accept anything less than the fulfillment of your vision. Do this, and the world will reflect your certainty.